It's not every day that you happen to come across a group of Vikings trying to cross a road. But if you'd been in the area of Thornton Hough on Saturday, that's exactly what you would have seen.
Neston there, these fields are in Thornton Hough. Now, if you're moving about in Anglo-Saxon England, you don't walk across people's fields, because they'll just accuse you of everything, stealing pigs, women, corn, you name it. If you stick to the paths through the boundaries, people can see you and they know, all right, you may be up to no good, but we know where you've come from and where you're going. You can see the hedge along here on either side. That's usually a good indication that this is an old route, because people are not interested in these hedges. They're to keep you out the field or the animals off the track.
Members of Wirral Felagr, Wirral's Viking Reenactment group, some of who were actually in the kit that we use on our displays, have decided to walk from Thornton Hough, following one of the older trails towards the village of Raby.
At the moment, we're walking along the township boundary between Neston and Thornton Hough. In a couple of yards, we'll actually meet a junction where three township boundaries meet. The other one is the township of Raby, which is where we're heading to.
Some members of the group did decide to do the walk wearing modern clothing, but as you can see, some of us did dress in the type of clothing that the 9th, 10th and even 11th century inhabitants here on the Wirral would have worn.
I would like to find a boundary stone around here, because there should be one. But yeah, keep looking. It's probably
in someone's house. Well,
it's someone's house, or dragged away and dumped in a ditch, or
somebody building.
You know what I mean? Under here somewhere. But technically there should be one here marking it. You can just about see Raby over there, which is where we're going. Thornton Hough over there, which is where we're going to end up later on. Okay guys, down the track.
Some of the group were wearing clothing that we would associate with inhabitants from Chester, the Mercians or Anglo-Saxons. Others in the group, they were wearing clothing that would have come over when people moved here from Dublin. The purpose of wearing clothing, and indeed the shoes that they would have worn at the time, is to test how comfortable and indeed how warm they would have been.
We are now very, very small village. Mentioned in Doomsday. See? Thornton Hough, where we started, also mentioned in Doomsday. Neston, over that way, also mentioned in Doomsday. Okay? So when we've been looking at the older routes on the Wirral, what we've done is we've taken Thingwall as being an obvious meeting place. Okay? Raby is the farmstead or the settlement on the boundary, and this is supposed to represent the boundary between the Norse enclave, that way, and all honest God-fearing Saxons living that way. What we've been working out is how the people who lived here could have got to a meeting in Thingwall, and the routes that we walked along from the main road. That is part of it. The route that we've walked along, as I said, would have led to Thingwall, okay? But this isn't what you might call a hard border, right? There's not people here with spears and shields chasing those guys away. The people here would need to have moved on, visit other farms that way, visit Chester if necessary, Williston even, all in that direction. So what we're going to do is walk along what is probably the route. Let's go and see how it works out.
And as you can see, members of the group were quite snug and warm in their wool tunics and trousers and cloaks as we moved along the rather, at times, muddy tracks leading towards the little village of Raby. As we left Raby, we came across a fallen tree, and the group leader, Steve, he took the opportunity of explaining how the King Alfred cakes could actually have been used by the Vikings and indeed the Anglo-Saxons.
You dry it out, and something like that will take a good 4 months to dry out. So it's quite fibrous and it's got layers. So if you get a spark on that, you can use it to hold an ember and use the ember to light. Also, if you've got a big one the size of that one, and you put an ember on top of that when it's all dried out, that ember will stay in there all day and slowly burn its way through, so you can take your ember with you wherever you're going. Always get the black ones. See, that one's black there. See this one here? Yeah, it's more browny colour. Don't use them, the rubbish. Always go for the dark black ones. And I tend to leave little ones like that when I can. If you haven't got any, take them, but if you see the big ones, take the big ones, let them grow. Come back at the end of winter and they'll be the size of that, if not bigger. King Alfred's cakes. Yeah. It's literally, it's called that because of the cakes King Alfred's meant to have burnt, because it's black. Yeah. There's that, and there's the big ones you can get on some other trees, the horseshoe fungus.
Yeah, I've seen them.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I've heard you mention it.
Put an amber in it. Yeah. Wrap the amber in some dry moss.
As always on these walks, there is plenty of opportunity to discuss what we see, the way the fields are laid out, the way the tracks sometimes follow the edges of fields, township boundaries, the layout of any woodland. It all helps us to try and understand what our ancestors would have seen as they followed very similar tracks, if indeed not exactly the same track that we follow today. How they would have used the landscape, what would have been the purpose of moving from one site to another. Over the coming year, we hope to do more of these walks, where again we'll be following all the tracks and trails from villages which we know were here during the Viking period here on the Wirral. So if you keep an eye on our website, wirhalvikings.org, you'll be able to see when our next walk will be, and indeed where we will be walking to. If you happen to be in the area and you see us passing, please give us a wave. And if you have any questions about Viking life here on the Wirral, please ask, and we'll be more than happy to answer your questions.